It probably Hello,
Now we're
everyone.
live.
Boom, we're
Isn't that a
live.
fancy update? Wow.
Welcome, everyone, for our Sacramento real estate market update through the month of June 2022. So, technically, we're in July, and we're going to cover kind of what's happened over the past month. A lot has happened, right, Keith?
A lot.
A lot.
A
We're
lot.
all reconsidering quite a bit right now in a lot of different areas. But that being said, there are always opportunities, unique opportunities. My name is Brandon Leon. Let me first introduce myself. I am a local real estate agent in the Sacramento area, and I'm joined by Keith Collins of Movement Mortgage.
Movement Mortgage.
Yeah,
Movement Mortgage.
it's the first time he is not wearing a Movement shirt or hat. This is the first time.
I know. I know. I'm sorry. I'm switching up. And you didn't recognize me.
I didn't. But we are here to just hit you with some knowledge, some stats, and really talk about what is relevant right now in the real estate market from a buyer perspective, from a seller perspective. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking about strategies. We're just trying to help you succeed in today's real estate market. So some of the things we're going to cover, I mean, really, our title of today is the housing market getting back to normal? Is that really a true thing? You're hearing it. Before it was like, is the market going to crash? Now it's like, is this normal? No, nobody knows. But, we're going to cover things like the unique opportunity for buyers right now. There's this really cool strategy Keith's going to really lay out for you guys. If you're a buyer thinking about getting back in the game, we're going to talk about what the normal and not normal is of the real estate market. We're going to talk about, how there's less bidding wars and properties are taking longer to sell, the rise in inventory. We're going to really cover some numbers today. So we're going to jump right into it. So Keith, we have a buyer, right? We have a buyer that maybe was looking a few months ago and they were getting bid out, multiple offer situations on every offer. And then the interest rate started climbing. They were losing buying power, or we have buyers that we're in the process of getting pre-approved or thinking about buying a house. And now with interest rates, they're like, there's no way. So like what options might they have, or what special options might they have in today's market?
Yeah, I think there's a really cool thing that we can run. We call it seller buy down strategy. So I think, we're and this is something we cover today is like, what is normal? What's a normal real estate market? The market itself is not crashing. It's just trying to get back to normal. And normal real estate market is where, people are on equal footing, buyer and seller. And there's negotiation that occurs, and not every home has 19 offers. And sometimes homes take 30, 40 days to sell. Like that's normal. And sorry, my phone coming in. And so, sorry, call came in. That was weird. And yeah, I mean, it takes a bit for a home to sell, and people need to negotiate, and sometimes the price needs to be reduced. And so with the normal real estate market, there's opportunities for buyers to be able to get credits from the seller. And we're finding a lot of buyers right now that are kind of a little put off, disappointed, dismayed with the interest rates that they're seeing today. I mean, interest rates are in the sixes potentially for some situations. And that's a lot higher than what they were maybe 2, 3, 4 months ago when they got pre-approved and we're looking at home prices. And so there's a strategy right now where we can go to the seller and ask them to pay some concessions or seller credits to buy the interest rate down. And so we were putting together a scenario for a customer where it was about a $600,000 purchase price. And I think, yeah, we got it up here. So it's a $600,000 purchase price. Market rate's about 6% right now. If we were to able to negotiate a credit from the seller, we could buy the rate down to 4.5%. You buy the rate back down to 4.5%. This is an interest rate of 3, 4 months ago. On a $600,000 purchase price, it's almost a $490 savings per month. What's really cool here is from a seller standpoint is this is the equivalent as a $75,000 price reduction. So about a $24,000 credit from the seller buys the interest rate back down to 4.5%, saves the buyer $490 a month off their payment. And the seller would have to do, not that the seller would, but the seller to equate this payment savings to the buyer or get them, interest rates 3, 4 months ago, would have to accept a $75,000 price reduction, which is, potentially not reasonable based on the comparable sales in the area.
Right. So Keith, real quick, I want to make sure I heard you right. So this scenario of $600,000 purchase price, the seller would credit the buyer $24,000. Okay. So then it would be like the equivalent to reducing it to 525. So instead of reducing to 525 and seeing what happens on the open market, you're saying a seller can come in and they can technically reduce the price of the house, even though they're not. They can technically, in their mind, reduce the price of the house to 576, right? $24,000. So they're taking $24,000 off of their net. They're basically crediting that to the buyer. That's the same to them as a $24,000 reduction.
Correct.
However,
they're saving 50 grand.
For the buyer is able to buy the rate down and really, really save almost $490 in this scenario.
In this scenario. And what's even cooler than this, and this was an actual live scenario we were talking with a client, is the client was like, well, Keith, like I want the 525 price. And I'm like, well, why do you want the 525 price, Keith? Or Mr. Client. He said, because I want to save money. That was his thing. I want the cheapest. I want the best deal. And what I was able to show them is what's really cool is interest is what matters. It's a $480,000 loan. And the interest rate is what matters. Yeah. And the option of taking the 4.5% interest rate versus the 525 price with a 6.125 interest rate over a 15-year period of time saved them over $100,000 in interest.
Unbelievable.
So they wanted the sexy low purchase price, but the best option is actually getting the low interest rate. That's what's going to save you the most amount of money. So taking the $600,000 purchase price with a 4.5% rate saved them over $100,000 in interest over a 15-year period of time versus a $525,000 purchase price. So I think this is where what this shows us is, when buyer and seller, selling agent and buyer's agent can come together and talk about what is it going to take to sell and buy this house, unique strategies can come to place like this. We can save sellers money. We can save buyers money. And if you're a buyer out, that's the message. If you're a buyer out here right now and you're like, man, I can't afford these interest rates. I think you have an opportunity right now that you have not had in the last 2 years. And that's negotiating some credits from the seller to take advantage of some unique strategies.
Yeah. And to your point, it really all depends on every situation. Every listing is a little bit different. So we're looking at houses that are potentially on the verge of a price reduction, right? Those are the ones that are most likely willing to work with us on something like this. But it comes down to communication between a trusted real estate professional, right? Your trusted real estate professional and the listing agent of whatever house you're interested in. I think there are opportunities here. And I think it's, and this is one of the reasons why we do this show, guys. Like, we want to bring you useful, like, boots on the ground strategies that we're doing to help clients win. And I think this is a really, really good one. And we're going to talk about the market and where it's at and everything. But I wanted to start with this because I really felt like this was going to give you guys some hope, because there may be some people in this position that may not feel like you have many options because interest rates has risen so much. So thanks for sharing that, Keith.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Beautiful. And so as we look at that, before we get into the actual kind of what we want to talk about, let's look at the Sacramento region housing market from last year to this year. So June 2021 to June 2022. So as we look at this, we can see that the median price has gone up, right? 575 to 610. That's great. It's gone up 6%. The average price, that's also gone up 5.6%. The average price per square foot has gone up. So the only thing that we really see that's gone down is the number of sales. Like, the number of sales has gone down. And Keith and I have talked about this so many times on the show about the honeymoon phase of, like, these last 2 years have been an anomaly. It's something that is completely outside of what we've experienced before, or we may ever experience again. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to look at the numbers year over year to show, we're still appreciating, even though we're seeing the market take a turn now. There's most likely still appreciation, moving forward. There shall be. So as we see that, now let's look at the Sacramento housing market just month to month. So we just looked June 2021 to June 2022. Now let's look at May to June, right? Just month to month, right? So as we look at May to June, it's like, okay, we've seen the median price go down. We've seen the average price go down a little bit. We've seen the average price per square foot go down, the number of sales, everything is just decreasing slightly, but we don't have enough data yet. So of everything you see today, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to see that are on a downward trend. We don't have enough data yet to know exactly what's going on. So when you say normalizing or stabilizing or whatnot, that a lot of that is going to depend on interest rates and what happens with the market, and we're having the increasing supply. But looking at this, I don't know, Keith, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, but I'm not alarmed by this. I'm not saying run for the fences and real estate is no longer a good investment. And you're hearing just so much doom and gloom around this. We are seeing a reduction, but this is, in the last couple of months is the first time you've seen that. And there are a lot of variables to that with the interest rates and the time of the year and all of those things. So what's your take on this as you see this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things I look at this, right? There's still zero short sales. Bank-owned sales were 4 and 4, right? So there's no spike in distressed sales, and that's what's potentially going to change the market. Median days on market is up 2 days. So when you look at that, it looks like it's up 28%, but it's only up 2 days. And these are all things, and that's where man, we have short memories. I mean, the stock market's been on a run for 10 years and then we have a correction and people are like, oh, I'm never going to invest in the stock market again. No, that's just normal. Things go up and things go down. Not suggesting home prices are going to go down, but what I am trying to say is that, the market's trying to find normality and we haven't seen that in a long time. And people think that the time to sell your home is right in the middle of the summer. No, like once we start hitting July, like it actually starts slowing down a little bit traditionally, and you actually start seeing a little price drop as you get out of May and into June. These are normal things in a normal market. I think the media just tries to sell a narrative that we watch about the sky is falling, and so we got to do is just look into the stats and look into the historical numbers. But real estate is a life event thing, and life events aren't changing, and it's a get rich slow strategy. If you're looking at a home as a primary residence and you've got a long-term horizon, you're going to do just fine as long as you buy it right. Did you lose me?
Yeah, I lost you for a sec, the last word, but you're there, you're back. Perfect. Well, as we're looking at the metrics, I really do feel like we're getting closer to normal pre-pandemic levels, but we're going to see a growth probably of 6 to 8%, this year, maybe, instead of 15 to 20, what we've been seeing. So we see the monthly supply has gone up. Properties aren't getting bid up like they used to. Houses are taking longer to sell. So as we get into this, I would say the normal for this time of year is just the bidding wars have calmed down. As Keith said, this is normally the time of year where we do see a little bit of slowdown. And this just means that the percentage of homes that are selling over list price has decreased, right? So as you're not having multiple offer situations, you're typically not selling for, a lot higher than what the house is listed in more cases. So the other normal is just homes are taking longer to sell, which again, this time of the year, pretty normal. Now we do have a few things that are not normal, and I'd like to point this out to you. So Sacramento Appraisal Blog just has the greatest up-to-date stats where we're able to really pinpoint what's happening in the market, and so these are where these graphs come from. So we've had kind of this sharp rise in inventory right now. So if we go to the monthly inventory in Sacramento, Derek, so we've had this rise happening, as you can see, over the past few months. It's just going up and up and up. But Keith, how many months of inventory would you consider a stable market?
3.
Right. So we are half of that, just over half of that. Right? So 3 to 4 stable market. Right now, we're still in a seller's market. Again, people are look at where, if you look at this graph, you look at, July of 2020, right? You look and see how low that is, the months of inventory, how it just was down, down, down. And you've been used to this for the past 2 years. So this is the first time we've seen it, beginning.
Well, I think what you can write over that too is you just can write COVID over that. Like that section right there is COVID.
Right.
It's not normal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people are starting to understand that more and more as they're seeing things happen. And as professionals like yourself are coming out and really going over the data and showing them. Again, people have short memories. So months of inventory has gone up. We need to watch this. So that's really all there is to it. So the sales volume last month was down 25% compared to June 2021. So if we look at the sales volume, what's crazy is, according to Sacramento Appraisal Blog, this is about the lowest sales we've seen in June in 20 years. Okay, so you look at this graph.
This is the lowest. That's an interesting statistic. So in June, that was the lowest in 20 years that we've seen.
I mean, how often do you see within the span of a month or two? How often do you see interest rates go up? 1.5% to 2%.
2%, yeah.
Right.
Lowest sales I'm writing that down. That's interesting. Lowest sales activity since for 20 years.
Yeah, and I think that's important to know that, like, okay, we had an anomaly month as well, so also something to look at. So I think it's important as you're looking at your real estate future, like this June was very unique. Then the pending contract volume was down over 25% from June 2021. So pending numbers are down. And what happens, Keith, when you have more houses, a little more houses being listed than normal, and you have the amount of pending homes going down?
Inventory goes up.
So we can see easily how this is explained. And again, this is a little bit more. So we talk about normal. This is a little more than normal for this time of year to have this sharp rise in inventory and the pending contracts to go down. But the interest rates really, it's a simple explanation just by seeing what the interest rates have been doing.
It's one of the fastest increases in interest rates I've seen in that period of time.
Exactly. And so that's why we have to watch the market and see. Now, I think this is interesting as we look at price reductions, right? Price reductions have had a sharp increase. A lot of sellers have been pricing their house a little bit higher, right? And they're used to getting multiple offers, and now this has just shifted really quickly. And now we're looking at it. Now, what I love about this is what this is saying is how much was the price reduced before getting into contract. So this is in Sacramento, Placer, El Dorado, Yolo County, Greater Sacramento region. So people listing reducing their house $1,000 to $5,000, about 3%, right? Get into contract. 5 to 10, about 4%. But the biggest number and where people are getting into contract is reducing their house $10,000 to $25,000. That's almost 30%. The next biggest number, 25 to 50. So, Keith, just looking at these reductions, I think you have a good take on reductions and how that plays a role in the buyer's mind, in the mind of the consumer.
Yep. I mean, 60% of sales occurred after at least a $25,000 price reduction.
That's huge.
And I think it's really important. I mean, it's a great thing there. Like you look at a 1 to 5, people are like, oh, I'll drop at $5,000. The median home price is $500,000, and you want to go drop your price of your house $5,000. That's a 1% price drop. If the Ford dealership advertised a 1% price drop on cars, I don't think that gets many people out of their couch to go to the Ford dealership to look at cars. A 1% price drop. Like it may feel like a lot to you, but for the overall market, a 1% price drop doesn't do a lot if you're out of the market from a pricing standpoint.
Sure.
I think that's the interesting thing too. The market will always tell you what your home is worth. Always.
Yeah, and I think that's the conversation. Even as I meet with sellers and I show them the stats, and we have all the conversations. Like I'm very stat driven because I want people to see what the actual stats are versus, oh, this is how much Zillow says my home is worth, or this is how much I think it's worth because this house sold and I have this, this, and this. The market will tell you 100% of the time how much your home is worth. I can't tell you how many times I'll talk to a seller and we will have agreed on a price 1 week, and the very next week it's like, no, I want to list $25,000 higher, and here's why. And it's more important than ever right now, guys. If you are a seller, it is more important in these uncertain times to list your house the right price in the right range the first time. Listing the house as a seller, I'd say the number one downfall that sellers can make right now is overpricing their home, because it will drastically affect your ability to sell your house in a timely manner and for the most amount of money, because then you just start chasing the market downwards.
And you never want to chase the market.
No. But here's a really fun stat as we look at how much your sellers reducing their price. So I thought that kind of the other side of it, right? We kind of went over that stat. But looking at that, 33% of sellers are reducing their price 10 to 25. So almost a third of the market are doing that reduction to 10 to 25. And that I think that in most reductions for our listings and where we're at, if we have to go there, are in that range. And it's like, let's reduce once, not 2 or 3 times, right?
Agreed.
Because let's not have to reduce at all if we price it right at the beginning. But I like looking at these to give us an idea of, okay, how can we adjust, right? Keith came up with a great strategy. It might not be a reduction, right? If your house is currently on the market and you're thinking about a reduction, this buy down strategy, maybe your listing agent may be able to go and call every buyer that's looked at the house and have this conversation. Hey, we're considering doing a price reduction. What do you think about this?
What do you think about a 4.5% interest rate?
Absolutely. That would be amazing. That would be something amazing.
Come again? A 4% interest rate?
Yeah. They're like, man, I haven't seen that since.
How are we doing that?
I haven't seen that since March. 2022. $5,000. Good stuff. Hey, if you're just joining us, please give us a little. Raise your hand. We want to see that you're here. Give us some love. We want to. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you guys. We are here for you. And let me show you the property of the week, the home of the week.
Bringing it home here with the property of the week.
Yeah, property of the week, baby. So
I already like the name of it.
Yeah, Deer Trail Lane.
I'm in on Deer Trail.
Oh, there it is. So this house on Deer Trail Lane, we just listed here. They just resurfaced the pool, redid all the concrete around the pool. It's got a huge lawn, 1/4 acre, covered patio, RV access, enough for a boat and an actual RV, or 2 RVs, whatever you want, all your toys. You got some storage in the backyard, owned solar. It's got a little bit of everything. 1,600 square feet, dual pane windows. It is a beautiful home. Plus in Cameron Park, when you come from, it's easy on the fire insurance where a lot of areas aren't. This one's easy on the fire insurance. They did a good job remodeling, just painted the inside. So this is as move-in ready as move-in ready gets as a house. I have it listed at $675. So if you guys would like a private tour or like us to send you the 360 tour, let us know. We'd love to send that to you. And Keith, closing thoughts on the market, advice, just ideas, anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think your ability to buy a home or sell a home in this market is directly related to the skill of your realtor, right? I mean, I think that now more than ever is, when you list a property and it's a market where it's, you list it and it sells $60,000 over, and you're using cell phone photos and it sells, like anybody can do that. And I don't mean that negatively or disparagingly on real estate. It's just that was a market we were in for a period of time where you put the property on the market, and if it's moderately priced right in a decent neighborhood and it didn't have holes in the walls, like it would sell. And I think so now, now a market that we're going into now more than ever is directly related to this. Your success is directly related to the skill of your real estate and your real estate team. Don't bring a stranger on the bus. It's never a good thing.
Don't be a stranger on the bus, and discount brokerages are not going to get it done.
Not going to get it done.
Good stuff. Thank you so much. Well, hey, I really appreciate you guys checking this video out. We want to hear what stats you want to know about, what questions you have. Please reach out to us. We are here to help you with your real estate goals. So my name is Brandon Leon, and
I'm Keith Collins.
And you stay classy, Sacramento.
It's no secret that the Sacramento area is in high demand for homes. Most people only look at homes that are on the market, right? Which means they're missing out on great opportunities. Now, it's really tough to find a home that's not already on the market, and if you do, you're spending hours online looking at listings, and by the time you find a home that you like, it's already been snatched up by someone else. And if it's still available, there are probably 10 or more other families interested in buying it, which forces you to pay more than you want for a home. Now, whether it's a new home or a resale home you're looking for, take advantage of our off-market inventory list. Our off-market inventory list will give you instant access to fully upgraded new homes that aren't available to the public. You'll also get access to 5 to 10 homes each week that are about to go on the market, so you can avoid competition and get your offer accepted. Click the link in bio so you can get instant access.